Y'all know I always had my eyes closed, but this morning I guess they're going to be wide open. But I thank Apostle Dean for giving me an opportunity because I know it was God. I recognize overseer and every other person in your respective places. God, I come this morning just to tell you, thank you, God. Because I'm not up here on my own this morning. And God, I thank you that throughout the service thus far, God, you've already given me the confirmation of what you gave me to give to the people. Thank you for speaking it to me first, God. Thank you for touching my heart with the word first, God. Thank you for helping me to understand the word, God. And God, I know I'm in the house this morning, and I just want to say, God, decrease Fannie. And not only that, God, I need you to cover the eyes of the people this morning and let them see with a spiritual sight this morning, God. I need you to cover their ears this morning, God, and let them hear with the spiritual ears this morning, God. Don't let them see me, but let them see you, God. Don't let them hear me, but let them hear you, God. Father God, I need you to move like never before in this place, God. God, I need you to touch right now like never before, God. Because I know you said some deliverance is in the house today, God. I know you said some healing is in the house today, God. And I dare not stand there and not let you do what you got to do, God. God, I want to thank you, God, for one more chance, God. God, I just want to be used by you, God. I want you to do what you need to do through me, God. Father God, anything that I've done that has not been pleasing to you, God, I repent right now in the name of Jesus. I ask that you cleanse me right now, God. Help me to stand before your people like never before, God. Give me a boldness like never before, God. God, I want to say, do it, God. Yes, God. Do it, God. Yes, God. Yes, God. If I could just jump into it, then somebody might miss how I jump. But before I jump too fast, I can move a little fast on this part about some people that God gave me for this morning. Sister Kim McCants, you one. I need you to come and sit in my waiting room. All right. Oh, Letha, you one. I need you to come to the waiting room. I contemplated on this one because I said, now God, do I really? But then when she got up this morning to give her word of inspiration, I got my confirmation. Overseer, I need you in the waiting room this morning. Hallelujah. And I shared with Samantha and Kim, I said there were 5 people. But I didn't know how God was going to do the 5 people. May seem a little strange, but I need Kim Osborne in the waiting room this morning. Yes, God, all right. Yes, God. Then he gave me that I need some stronger people in the waiting room. Samantha, I need you and Kim McCants to come and stand God in the waiting room. Kim Georges. And I'm going to do my best to stay on my paper, but it's however God does it. My scriptures for this morning is coming from Proverbs 3, 5, and 6. It says, trust in the Lord with all thine heart, and lean not unto thine own understanding, but in all thy ways acknowledge him, and he shall direct thy path. But I like how the Passion Translation says it. It says, trust in the Lord completely, and do not rely on your own opinions. With all your heart, rely on him to guide you, and he will lead you in every decision you make. Become intimate with him in whatever you do, and he will lead you wherever you go. And I'm going way back with a brief testimony. So I'm just going to need you to just listen so you can hear how I'm going to where I'm going. Even though I don't need to pay for this testimony, but I know I got to have it. just so I don't lose something this morning, because I don't want to get ahead of myself. But I would like to share with you all a test that my family and I went through in 1996, and it was not an easy test. I'm going to point out a few things that happened when we were going through that test. And this is prior to our mother departing this earthly life. There were many things that took place. For example, 3 siblings, and when I say siblings, I'm talking about all of us, my mom's children. Some were in New Jersey, 1 was in Georgia, 3 was in Camden where our mother lived, 1 was stationed in Germany, and I resided in Montgomery. But just sharing where we all lived, that lets you know the length of time it took to get to where our mom was. But moving on, she was taken to the hospital. The first visit was okay. She went home. But then we got a call that she was taken back to the hospital. This time it was not favorable for us. We had to make plans. We had to prepare. Because it was not looking good for our mom. You had my siblings that had to come from New Jersey. You had the brother that came from Georgia. You had myself, which didn't take long to get from Montgomery to Camden. But then you had my other siblings, which I had a baby sister at the time that was 9 years old. But can you think about the brother that was stationed in Georgia during that time when we didn't know how things were going to turn out? I'm not on my paper. But just the idea, the ones that were near, we made it to the waiting room. So you in the waiting room. In that waiting room, we had some hurt. We had questions. We questioned God. We even questioned ourselves as to, God, have we done everything we could for Mama? But then that added to us because we had to help get our brother home. So we had to go through the Red Cross process to get him home because he was in the military. But can you imagine that one brother that had to travel further alone? But we had each other. 4 of us had each other. Then the other 3, they made it. Then the other one from Georgia, he made it. Then that leave, we had 9 total, but 1 was still out by himself. Can you imagine what he felt? He probably felt hurt. Like, God, why did I join the military if I'd known I was going to be this far away from home? He had a fear that he wouldn't see our mama again. Well, I want to tell you, he didn't get to see mama alive again. When he made it, it was already too late. She took her last breath before he even got to the hospital. But even in that waiting room, God was still with us. I'm off my paper, and I'm saying to you in your waiting room, God is with you all. Don't know what it is that you're going through, but I want to say God is in the waiting room. I want to encourage someone today while you're in your waiting room, whether it's a hospital setting, a doctor's office, a place of business, a restaurant, or on the airplane like my brother was, or even in your own home. That though it seems dark and dreary with no way out, you got to trust God even in the place that you're in. Just like he brought my family and I through in 1996, he's the same God doing it in 2019. I want to encourage somebody this morning. That's what's giving me to my topics for this morning. Trusting God while you're in your waiting room. I don't know what your waiting room experience is, but trust him in the midst of it. I want to take time and point out 4 things this morning while you're in your waiting room. The first thing is to believe in divinity. Believe in divinity. This means we must trust and believe in God for all things. And a person that comes to mind is Job. No matter how hard things got for Job and his wife, he never gave up believing that God would make things better. Through everything that Job went through, he remained steadfast in his faith. Job 13 and 15 says it like this. Don't they slay me? He said, don't they slay me? God, yet will I trust in him. But I will maintain my own ways before him. So I want to say to someone, what happens if you lose all your loved ones back to back? Sickness take over your body. You can't provide for your family. I want to say it like this. Let's be unmovable and trust in the Lord with all thine heart. Second thing you need while you're trusting God in your waiting room is to understand that you cannot depend on humanity. You can't depend on humanity because we are humans. We're subject to mistakes. We're unpredictable. And we're unreliable. But I want to give a quick example about trusting in man-made stuff. What if you and I bought a 2019 vehicle on yesterday? But today, we got issues with electronic systems. The first thing that comes to mind is, this is a brand new vehicle. How can there be issues already? But remember, this is man-made. Then say a few months later, we get a notice in the mail saying, we got a recall on our vehicle. Here we go again, questioning how. But remember, this is man-made, and we only have limited abilities to do anything. We prone to many errors, but this is why we should not lean not unto thine own understanding, because we as humans are not all knowing. My third thing is, you need to understand subjectivity. Somebody say it again, subjectivity. Which means we allow personal perspectives, feelings, or opinions to enter into our decision making, which cause many downfalls to occur in our lives. And what comes to mind is, we quickly marry someone because of feeling in love, overwhelmed, excited, and finally getting somebody to be with us so we won't be alone. But in the process, I want to ask you a question. Did you fast? Did you pray? And did you seek God for answers before saying I do? When we make hastily decisions, expect the consequences, because some marriages are based primarily on what we believe because we didn't acknowledge God. That means you have a lack of communication. Somebody may even step outside the home and commit adultery. But did you seek God before you said, I do? That was your opinions, and that's how you felt. That's why you said, I do. But did God tell you to do it? All right. One great leader that came to my mind when I thought about it, that acknowledged God in all things, and that's his son Jesus. What if Jesus had not stayed humble and focused when he was in the wilderness for 40 days? What if he had not been strong enough to endure the tricks of Satan? But because he acknowledged God in all things, God kept him strong in one of his weakest moments. Luke 4:8 says, and Jesus answered and said unto him, get thee behind Satan, for it is written, thou shalt worship the Lord thy God, and with only shalt thou serve. And as you and I continue to trust God while we're in our waiting room, we got to always acknowledge him in everything that we do. My fourth point is, while you're in your waiting room, you got to have objectivity. Objectivities. I'm talking about proven facts that God will provide. And he is able to direct our path. Let's consider Shadrach, Meshach, and Abednego when they endured the fiery furnace. Though they faced an unimaginable fire, God never left them. But because they trusted in God. Come on. When they trusted in God. When they didn't bow down. When they trusted in their God. When they didn't bow down. Not only did the king look down and say he saw 4 of them, he said, did we not throw 3 of them in the fire? Because they trusted God. Because they trusted God. They allowed God to order their steps. If we allow God to order our steps, you can't tell me he won't change things. Hey God. And because they God to do it. Their action helped the king. Because when the king saw a God that they serve can have a 4-person down in a fire like that same fire that killed the ones that throw them in there. You tell me that God can't do it. The king was in his own waiting room because he didn't know God like that. But when God did what he did for them down in that fiery furnace, the king wanted to go head on and worship that God. You can't tell me God won't change your path if you want your steps to be changed. Woo. Somebody's in the waiting room. When I saw your face, God said to tell you everything was all right in your waiting room. I heard confirmation when he gave it to you. I heard confirmation when Evangelist George gave it to you. And I said, now God, I know you said it. They put her in the waiting room. Because today there's miracles in the waiting room. Don't you sitting out there. I want to tell you too. You in your waiting room. But these are the ones he said to bring them up in the front of the waiting room. Because they in need of a right now miracle. God said to tell you too. You in your waiting room. You've been heavy. You've been trying not to let him know it. But he's giving you some release today in the waiting room. You don't carry it too long. You've been trying to cover it too long. But God said today is your day, Shamika. He didn't give you a spirit of fear. No matter how hard you've been trying to say you're not afraid of what God is doing. Mama, it's all right. He needs you to accept that she's all right. While you're in your waiting room, he said, keep trusting me. See, Samantha and Kim are the armor bearer because right now they're your strength that you need. You did all you could. But God needs you to help somebody while they're in their waiting room. Somebody needs to know what you've really been through. He don't need you to keep sitting on it. He needs you to open your mouth. He needs you to start telling somebody how he brought you out of your waiting room. God told me to tell the people today, whatever you need today, he's in the waiting room with you. Somebody need a spiritual breakthrough. Somebody need a natural breakthrough. But whatever you need is in the waiting room. God is in the waiting room. I dare you to praise him while you're in your waiting room. I dare you to worship him while you're in your waiting room. Somebody may be feeling hurt right now, but praise him while you're in your waiting room. Somebody said, well, I told a story about my mama. He'll be a mother in your waiting room. He'll be a father in your waiting room. He'll be a comfort to keep you in your waiting room. He's a man regulator in your waiting room. Anybody in the waiting room? Anybody gonna trust God in the waiting room? Anybody gonna lean and depend on it in the waiting room? In the waiting room. In the waiting room. In the waiting room. In the waiting room. There's healing in the waiting room. Your breakthrough is in the waiting room. He's turning it around in the waiting room. thing about the waiting room is when you can't help the one you love.
Jesus.
But God said, trust him.
All right.
Even in that, he'll never leave you. He'll never forsake you. You need somebody to hold you up while you're in your waiting room. If you lean to the left, you're wondering who's on that side. You lean to your right, you're wondering who's on that side. If you lean forward, you're wondering who's in front of you. And if you lean backwards, you're wondering who's behind you. But I want to tell you who it is today. It's Jesus that got all of us today.
Yes, God. Yes, God. Yes, God. Yes, God. Thank you, Jesus. Thank you, Jesus.
In the waiting room.
Yes.
In the waiting room. In the waiting room. In the waiting room. You're going to face some hard tests in the waiting room. 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 It ain't always the hospital. That's why God said, keep saying, in the waiting room. In the waiting room. If you don't believe, close your eyes for just a second right now. And just think about your waiting room. What's your waiting room? What's your waiting room? Is your waiting room filled with depression? Is your waiting room filled with heartaches? Is your waiting room filled with uncertainty? Whatever your waiting room is today, I know a man. I know a man. I know a man that's in that waiting room. Even in your darkest hours, he's in the waiting room. Even when you can't see your way, he's in the waiting room. I want to say it again, just like he did it in 1996 in our waiting room. He's doing it right now in 2019 in your waiting room. Whatever you need in your waiting room to be delivered today. God said he could do it. But how bad do you want it? Even the children were in the waiting room.
All right.
Thank you, God. I didn't know how he was going to do it. But God showed somebody getting deliverance in the waiting room today. Thank you, God. Somebody battling with some spirits. But God's going to deliver you today. Thank you, God. But the hardest thing about being in a waiting room is when you can't do nothing. God say, will y'all really trust him in y'all waiting room? See these four right here? Not that their needs are better and greater, but right now God wants to do something for them in their waiting room. But only you all know what God can do and what you really need him to do. I'm going to be like this here. I wouldn't dare try to say he told me what it was. But I know who he said needed to sit in the waiting room. And I'm going to trust God and stand on what he told me. It's not for me to know. But you should know deep inside if I really heard God say, put you in your waiting room. I can't do it. You gave some of it yourself when you said you needed what Olitha gave. That was just so funny to me. I said, well, wow. Look how they fed off each other, Lord. So while you're in your waiting room, you all can really connect because you can help each other. Your circumstances are different in the waiting room. but the God we serve is still the same. Your strength really coming from each other in your waiting room.